What's so funny is you'll take a Leatherman, he'll walk into a sweater bar and everyone will go, oh my God. But at least half of them are going, I wonder what it would be like to go home with him.
While the rest of the travel industry seems to be stagnating, the travel industry for gays and lesbians seems to be really booming.
I think the important thing is that there should be a lot of images, and that gay and lesbian artists should be able to choose among our interests.
I was talking to somebody earlier on at the reception, and she was saying to a friend, you know what this event, this evening, the start of the San Francisco Festival, makes me feel just like I did when I went with my father to a ball game and the national anthem played. That sense of pride, and we have a lot of lesbian and gay pride here, and that's empowering.
Welcome to Network Q. I'm David Serber. I'm here in the historic Castro Theater, right in the heart of the Castro District in San Francisco. The occasion, opening night of the 17th Annual San Francisco International Lesbian and Gay Film Festival. This is the largest event of its kind in the world, with over 260 works being presented this week from 15 different countries over the course of 10 days at 8 different venues all around the Bay Area. It's deserted right now, but in a few minutes, this room is going to be packed for the West Coast premiere of Forbidden Love, a new documentary about Canadian lesbians coming of age in the 50s and 60s. We'll be talking with directors Lynn Fernie and Erilyn Weissman a little later in the show. We also have a special treat, a few minutes with director Gus Van Sant, whose 1985 film Mala Noche is being re-released this year in 35mm. We'll talk with him about that project and also his upcoming film, Even the Cowgirls Get the Blues. Also later in the show, comedian Marilyn Pittman. Queer Holiday goes to Russian River. APLA honors Calvin Klein. An inside look at the leather community. The Campaign for Military Service video to support and defend. A gay travel expo. And Queer in America's Michelangelo Signorelli. All that and more this month on Network Q. Opening night at the festival began with a reception for the more than 200 visiting filmmakers and guests. Then it was into the theater, where the program featured Lynn Fernie and Erilyn Weissman's Forbidden Love, and a new 35mm version of Gus Van Sant's Mala Noche.
This is great, and the fact that every year it mushrooms even bigger and more people and more films, and, you know, there should be more frame lines around, but I'm glad that we have this one.
I'm a filmmaker, so it's very inspiring to see this kind of stuff happening. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and I think the gay community has really grown in terms of its art form in filmmaking.
This festival, I feel our issues are really center stage at last, and this festival's part of that.
I thought it was great, and it should be made available for my parents to see.
I'm glad I live here so I can enjoy it every year.
The Frameline Film Festival opening is so much fun. It's not so much about the opening film as it's about like schmoozing before and after and processing about the film.
It's nothing more fun than a gay film festival as far as I'm concerned, especially in a theater like this.
is Carl Knapper, and I'm the president of the board of directors of Frameline. And on behalf of Frameline, I would like to welcome you all to the 17th San Francisco International Lesbian and Gay Film Festival.
It's been really exciting. I'm really into film, and I think one of the most important things is for queer people to see themselves on the screen. And so Frameline is basically doing that. Just when I have people come up to me after the festival and tell me how much it meant to them to be able to see things on the screen, that tells me that we're doing a great job. So, and it makes me really happy.
Of the more than 260 different projects that are being screened as part of this year's festival, many of the larger format film-based projects are being shown at the Castro Theater. But the Roxy over here is a location where you'll see many of the video-based or more experimental documentaries. And another location, the Eye Gallery, also in San Francisco, is doing a rotating series of shorter works. But there are also locations in Berkeley, in San Jose, and all around the Bay Area that they're screening things.
We're now the second largest film festival of any kind in Northern California, and we've always been the largest lesbian and gay film festival in the world.
The language, pervert the language, the language, wet me, pervert the language.
I'm Chelsea King.
Wet me.
Did she say anything to you?
Who?
Evelyn.
Only thing she has to say to me is goodbye.
There's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Billy's got some new stuff. Who is it, Angela?
No.
Not Big Booty Brenda.
No.
Oh, God, Billy, please don't tell me it's Evelyn.
No.
So what's the big secret? Go on, Billy, tell him.
It's
A what?
a white woman.
Oh, yeah? A white woman? She suck your dick yet?
At a time when we celebrate lesbian and gay freedom in San Francisco, we also celebrate our community's lesbian and gay artists. One of the special things about the festival is having so many of the film and video makers here with us, with the audience, meeting people and exploring San Francisco. This year we have more guests than ever before. We have over 150 lesbian and gay film and video makers.
Is this your first trip to the Frameline Festival here?
Yeah, and my first trip to San Francisco, so sort of taking in all the sights. There are a lot of sights, definitely. It's kind of a fun city. And this, festival is just amazing, the way they've organized it, and, the whole sort of setup is just really wonderful for a filmmaker. They really make you feel like stars of the show, which is really nice.
Basically, it deals with all the attempts to try to change gay people into straight people in this century, well, up since the 40s to the present, more or less, and more or less focuses in the present on groups that do this, like Christian groups.
I was watching The Wonder Years on television, and I was deeply offended because I felt like it was heterosexual propaganda bordering on kiddie porn. And I actually called the station to complain. And then one day I was just hanging out, and the idea came to me that instead of being angry because this show didn't represent my experience, why didn't I create something that did?
Something fantastic has happened. Last year, the rate of submissions grew, and this year it's at least doubled. I think that's either a measure of political change, and there being the feeling that there's a better climate for lesbian and gay people to pick up video cameras, make films. But I also think it's a measure of the political backlashes we've been having, and that people feel more compelled to make work.
I have this feeling or the sense that, there's a way to reach younger people about safe sex in a way that won't make their parents freak out because, like, oh, you can't show a condom, or, oh, you can't show people having sex. I figured if I did it more in a cartoon-like manner, that maybe the parents would say, oh, it's harmless, it's a cartoon, and the kids would actually get something out of it. So that was the experiment behind it. I mean, kids could never see this.
What you are aiming at first is safety, and secondly, yield.
And I just think more people should realize that they have the ability to do this kind of stuff if they just have the ideas. They don't have to necessarily be filmmakers and NYU graduates and have access to all that. They can do this stuff at home, and it can still be, viable and fun, and other gay people would probably like to see it.
Back in '84, when we started on this project, a lot of people, including a lot of gay people, didn't realize how pervasive anti-gay and lesbian violence was. We wanted to reach the high schools because in San Francisco that's possible. So we prepared a 10-minute film to sensitize kids and to launch a discussion about gay and lesbian violence issues. Well, that film has since had a great life on the Ted Koppel Show to define the debate on hate crimes. It's gone to gay and lesbian film festivals. It's been to schools around the country. And, you know, the results speak for themselves. People are much more aware.
And you won the category for the 10-minute to 30-minute version for Homo Home Video.
Homo Video, right. It's actually a 21-minute film, and the first 7 minutes are a docudrama about the making of the porn film itself. So it's very self-reflexive, and it's quite funny, I guess, or at least light. And then the next part is the docudrama, which is we strip the color, so it's black and white, and it's very soft in the sense that, you know, there's no dialogue, you know, no grunts and moans. It's you know, just music, and it's relatively, you know, it's very tender. The whole idea of fetishizing safe-sex images, as opposed to just having the condom there without really recognizing it, but yet not showing a didactic safe-sex video either, which turns people off. So it's the idea of making, you know, saying condom use is fun, but it's normal. You have to put them on. They don't just appear out of thin air. And, you know, and it can be fun and it can be, you know, hot too.
And you are the proud director of a new project featuring whom?
Featuring the one and only Sandra Bernhard.
Sexuality is always, you know, an ongoing issue in America and around the world, and I think because of AIDS, it's caused a lot of fears about homosexuals and, you know, the dark side of it.
Yeah, I think the film takes quite an honest appraisal of her. I mean, we set up some ambiguous scenes to fall in with her kind of ambiguity about certain issues. But I think the film looks at what Sandra represents in terms of being a gay icon.
Leave yesterday behind and walk proudly into tomorrow. Because this is 1992. And there are no more gentle people in San Francisco, or in London, or in Los Angeles, or New York. There are only people fighting for the right to express their sexual freedom, fighting for the right to make the final decision on their own bodies, fighting for their right to express their artistic individuality and freedom, but above all, people fighting for their lives, and don't you ever fucking forget it.
We made Marta over a 5-day protest for gay rights, and we were at the, let's see, where did we? It was basically like 2 major protests, and we went down with the, you know, going down to protest for ACT UP, and we just decided, I had brought my Super 8 camera, and we just came up with the idea of Marta, because in Atlanta, the public transportation is called Marta, so we figured we'd have like a, you know, we'd give Atlanta a little support. But actually, I'm from Seattle now, and so we went down there and we just came up with the idea of creating this character who kind of free floats through the whole movement, but is important.
I think I've been told more than once that my contribution is vital, so as long as there are people out there who need me, I'll be there for them. What?
Okay, Brian Sloan Pool Days. We got to see the rough cut back when you were still editing it, and then today again the finished version. It looks terrific, and it was very well received by the crowd. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, yeah, it was wild to have it seen by such a large crowd, and the reaction was pretty fun. It's very like fun. I mean, the audience here is just so sort of like sensitive, I guess. 1 minute they're like laughing, the next minute they're like screaming and applauding, and the next minute they're like hissing, which is great. It's like it's all about what filmmaking should be: is people reacting, good or bad. Either way, it's fun.
So, a little shopping spree.
Hey, you like my shirt? It's one of those new ones that changes color when you touch it.
Cute. Can I try it? Oh, a little ticklish out?
No, yeah, a little bit.
Gary's ticklish like a baby sometimes.
Who's Gary, your boyfriend?
My lover. Boyfriend, it sounds so teenage. I like lover better. So, do you have a lover?
No, not even a teenage type girlfriend.
Well, Mr. Williams, what muscles are we working today? Let's see, it's Tuesday, so it must be...
Pecs. And what are we doing in dance class today?
Cute.
Very nice. Could I see the free weights, please?
Sure, darling. Excuse me, Justin, I hope we can continue our little chat later.
Bye, Victoria. Your little chat, huh?
Yeah, she was saying how I needed a lover.
She was?
Yeah, like a girlfriend or something.
Oh. New shirt, huh?
Yeah, it's one of those new ones that it's like a chemical reaction to
The best thing for me about being a lesbian is total erotic satisfaction and endless possibilities.
Receiving a special award for her contributions to queer cinema was British South Asian lesbian filmmaker Pratibha Parmar. Her work includes Double the Trouble, a docudrama about the experiences of disabled lesbians and gay men, Kush, an internationally acclaimed documentary on South Asian gays and lesbians in Britain, and her recently completed Warrior Marks, the first feature-length analysis of female genital mutilation.
The work of Pratibha Parmar illuminates her steady determination to depict and to defend the love, and to depict and to end the pain, to depict and to defend the dreams, to depict and to end the screaming terror of people who would otherwise remain hidden away from most of us and silent.
So, what's he gonna be to? Your wheelchair or mine? We'll have to make the first move. I'm hopeless with weights.
Weight? What weight? I'm feathering your arm. If someone was watching us, they think we're crazy to go to all this trouble.
Double the trouble, but twice the fun. Anyway, why do you hide yourself away in the dark? I mean, have you never looked at yourself in the mirror?
I stay away from my reflection as much as possible.
You're a fool. You don't know what you're missing.
Join me. Come on.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
Against the morass of stereotypes, ignorance, and oblivion, my films attempt to give a voice and a visibility to people who have been poorly represented in every kind of medium. I'm greatly reassured and hopeful that because of my work, people may begin to see South Asian lesbians and gays in a different light, become more informed about African women fighting for the right to control their own bodies, see the rights of people with disabilities to be recognized as full human beings, and asserting the absolute necessity for women to be self-determining individuals wherever we are in the world.
We'll have more from San Francisco and the 17th Annual San Francisco International Lesbian and Gay Film Festival when Network Q continues.
If you're concerned about AIDS or HIV, it's time you heard about the Center. The Center is the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Community Services Center. At the Center, we take care of people who are HIV positive or affected by AIDS. Call us and find out how the Center can help you. También hablamos español.
So what do you think of these new palm trees right here on Market Street? 3,000 bucks a whack? Kind of makes it look like Santa Monica Boulevard if you ask me, but that's not all bad. The weather also reminds me of Santa Monica Boulevard, so it's kind of hard to imagine that people would actually want to get out of this city, but sometimes they do. And when they do, they often head a little bit to the north to a tiny town called Guerneville. You might know it as Russian River.
Located approximately an hour north of San Francisco, the Russian River Resort area is nestled in and around the tiny lumberjack town of Guerneville. Not only does the area boast over 100 gay-friendly businesses, but with the Russian River weaving its way through the forest and wine country, it also offers visitors the chance to get back to nature and relax.
One of your first stops should be the Tourist Information Center, where you can get a local map and any other information on specific events and activities happening during your stay. Beaches along the riverbank offer visitors the chance to catch some sun and cool off in the Russian River waters. Paddle boats and canoes can be rented to explore the river's beautiful scenery. If you forgot your raft, don't worry. Local stores have a variety of flotation devices, footwear, and novelty towels. There are many great fishing spots along the river. Stop into the local bait and tackle for equipment and directions to the best fishing holes.
The main downtown strip is located at Market Street and River Road. Guerneville's small size creates the sort of intimacy and everyone knows everyone feeling that you just don't find in big cities anymore. It only takes about 5 minutes to walk from one end of downtown to the other, but that allows you plenty of time to take in the shops and the people.
One of the most popular stores is the Quicksilver Mine Company, which specializes entirely in products made, grown, or created in Sonoma County, California. Handcrafts, clothing, and an interesting variety of local wines are worth checking out as well. And don't miss the gallery in the rear of the store. Rotating exhibits include paintings, sculptures, ceramic, and textile art. Memories That Linger offers a variety of men's and women's clothing. Reasonable prices and a large selection give you the opportunity to add to your wardrobe. Up the River has a small but diverse selection of gay and lesbian shirts, buttons, and novelties. Other stores, such as the Royal Barge, Misty River Antiques, and Seconds First, can yield small treasures for shoppers with the patience to search for bargains.
By the way, there are no good radio stations in Russian River District, so if you come here, bring a tape player.
If beads are your thing, then this is the store for you. Beads, beads everywhere. Think of the hours and hours that could be spent out by the pool stringing these puppies. If you want to spend some quality time reading, pick up the latest releases in homo literature at either By the Book or The Last Word. Two great stores downtown. If you need a little extra boost in the form of caffeine, there are two great places for coffee. The Coffee Bazaar has a fine selection of freshly ground beans and several pastry items to choose from, and Sweets Cafe and Grill has outdoor seating and is ideal for sipping drinks and grabbing a snack. There aren't many restaurants downtown, but for great Mexican food, try Lalitas. Incredible prices for everything homemade. Nothing processed, nothing canned. We were disappointed with the ribs at Breeze and Barbecue, but the sweet potato pie was worth the stop.
Once again, let me remind you, if you do come to visit the Russian River Resort area, please bring a tape player.
Once you've checked out the river and downtown areas, you may want to explore some of the surrounding wine country. A short 10-minute excursion to the east of Guerneville will take you to the Corbel Champagne Cellars, one of the oldest and most popular wineries in the area. A tour of the facilities will show you the behind-the-scenes process in the making of champagne, and afterward you're allowed to taste some of the varieties Corbel has to offer, as well as take advantage of discounted prices in the gift shop.
The hour-and-a-half tour begins in the historic Rose Garden. You'll then be led into the museum to take in the history of the Korbel brothers' many successful business ventures. Throughout the tour, original bottling tools and machines are displayed and demonstrated. Following a brief slideshow, you are led underground to the cellar where thousands of gallons of wine are aged in vats for months. The highlight of the tour is the wine tasting.
Among the many annual events here in Russian River is Pride Week, a week-long celebration of events culminating in Pride Fest on Sunday, which you see going on behind me, where one of the largest rainbow gay flags is flying. So, Chris, can you give us just a brief history of how Guerneville and the Russian River area became gay-friendly?
One of the disco owners in San Francisco named Peter Pender bought a resort here in the late 70s, and one by one, friends of his bought other businesses, and by the beginning of the 80s, there were many, many, many gay people coming up here as a weekend retreat. It was an inexpensive place to come for a day trip and get away from the city and get away from the rat race right back into just the woods and partying outdoors.
So where'd you come from to come to Russian River?
Well, from Venice, Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
And what are your impressions of it?
Well, it's a real nice place. It's good. It's relaxing, entertaining, a lot of nice company.
The reason why I come up here, as well as my friends, is we can come up here and have a good time. We can do whatever we want, and we don't know anybody.
This is a place where you can be who you are and not really have anybody judge you for who you are.
The resorts are really fun, and the people that come up here are fun. It's a nice place to hang out on the weekends.
There are 3 main resorts and several smaller ones. One of the largest resorts is Fife's. The sprawling complex has a variety of poolside cabins that can include fireplaces and wet bars. Prices range from $50 to $185. The Woods offers both cabins and a standard hotel room. The 2 pools, 2 bars, a dance floor, and outside restaurant are set on the edge of Armstrong Woods. Rates range from $50 to $160. The third major accommodation is the Russian River Resort. The 24 units include wood-burning stoves and offer private baths and color televisions.
What does the Russian River Resort offer people if they're coming here?
Well, look around. We've got a pool full of people. Got the cocktails right there. Hot tub. Got the rooms. Right in town.
The pool is a favorite place to have a few beverages, catch some rays, and cruise till the sun goes down. Bungalows run $55 to $125 a night. Other places to stay include the Paradise Cove Resort. Beautifully furnished cabins have private bathrooms and sun decks. Rates here range from $60 to $115. And just outside Guerneville is the Willows. This guest house offers an alternative to the traditional resort. For approximately $75 a night, you can stay in a bed and breakfast atmosphere. Although each resort has its own dance floor, Ziggurat is the hands-down hot spot. This place is big and boasts incredible lights and large video screens.
The gay community really supports us, so I try to do straight things when I can, but I don't get the same kind of support from the straight community that I do from the gay community, so yeah, we're a gay club.
The Rainbow Cattle Company is the more traditional night spot. No dancing, but lots of pinball.
Oh, I think it's really nice here. It's beautiful, it's green, the air is clean. It's really cool.
Reporting from Guerneville for Network Q, this is High C.
So that was the Guerneville experience. Hope you enjoyed it. In fact, gay travel experiences and opportunities seem to be exploding all over the country, in fact, around the world. One of the best indications of that is the Gay Travel Expo that's been making the rounds this summer. John Slater caught up with it in New York a few weeks ago.
What's going on here is really exciting. I had this concept a few months ago, and my idea was to take my travel experience, my marketing experience, and my desire to work more with community and give something to the community which really hasn't happened yet. And I know there's a substantial amount of interest in travel, and this seemed to be something I could do, and it's really a good response.
I like to travel, so I'm going to Italy this summer and I want to go to France. I like to go a lot of different places, but it is nice to run into your occasional gay bar, your occasional dyke on the street.
I've done a lot of scuba diving, and I run a gay and lesbian scuba diving club here, and there's the big drawback has always been that, you know, in some of a lot of adventure sports, it pulls an entirely straight sort of macho crowd, and there's none of the attitude when you're on an entire boat full of gay and lesbians.
Let's say two guys want to travel together. They want a single bed. They don't want to end up at the hotel. Somebody saying, "Are you sure you don't want two beds?" They don't want that embarrassment. So there are now travel agents who specialize in gay travel and avoiding those awkward situations.
The RSVP cruise going over to Boston, sailing out of New York, is still open too. They're sailing every Saturday, starting June 17th.
Salmon River up in Idaho is a real good one too. That will a little more tame, more of an alpine.
We're providing people a great place to get away for the weekend, to come lay by the pool, to dance the night away in a disco, have great food. They can play badminton, volleyball, tennis, paddle boating.
The cruises, people really enjoy the cruises. I think it's a very relaxing experience, taking a cruise, both men and women. Women like most the camping trips.
I think Australia has finally come around as far as their morals go. I would compare them to a Scandinavian country. We're far, far behind when it comes to Australia's morals. Plus, they're just fun-loving. They like to have a good time. They can drink us under the table. They're very warm and accepting, and you go there and you automatically feel like you're at home. There's Tamarama Beach, which is the official gay beach, called Glamorama Beach by all the boys. And then the nudist beach there in Sydney is called Mary Jane. So.
It's really interesting. While the rest of the travel industry seems to be stagnating, the travel industry for gays and lesbians seems to be really booming.
The Gay and Lesbian World Travel Expo is headed your way. The expo will be on the road in major cities throughout the U.S. through November. Here's a list of cities and dates. In New York, John Slater reporting for Network Q.
Why must I meet you in a secret rendezvous? Why must we steal away to steal a kiss or two? Why must
you're new in town?
Yes,
Oh, thanks for the drink. It's my favorite. I thought so. Do you mind if I join you? What's your name? Laura? Laura. Hi, Laura. I'm Midge. Yes, I know she told me. I bet she did. Where are you from, Laura? Nowhere. Oh, I've been there too. Yeah. So listen, do you want to dance? No, sorry. Thank you. Maybe next time.
Laura just had to escape. She liked Mitch, but everything was moving too fast. And yet, if she left now, would there be a next time?
Count the number of exclusively gay comedy night spots on one finger. It's Josie's Cabaret and Juice Joint. It's here in San Francisco, and we're standing right in front of it. It's the place that Bodan Zachary picked to tape his new comedy program. It's called All Out Comedy. It's available on video cassette, and it features several gay comedians from the San Francisco area, including the woman you're going to see tonight, Marilyn Pittman. This is exclusively queer comedy.
Thank you for coming out. We love that. So I have lesbian haircut number 4. There are 10 of them. I see a 3 back there. Aren't these phallic shaped? I've worked in radio a long time, you know, and interviewed a lot of people. And invariably, I put the microphone in people's face, you know. People will always go, yeah, Yeah, I'll talk to you like, get that big penis out of my face! You know, and I always want to be the woman to invent the world's first breast-shaped microphone. Would that be great? Because instead of people going like this, they'd be going, oh yeah, I'll look into that. Sure. Oh yeah, no problem. Oh yeah. Sure. Oh yeah. I think language is really funny. You know, have you ever wondered what people mean when they say the computer went down on me? Hey, I want one. What is that, a wang?
I think the gay and lesbian comedy scene is growing, exploding, and yet I'm really tired of having everything so separated in this culture. I'm really tired of feeling like, well, you got the gay and lesbian comics performing for the gay and lesbian people over here. You got that nice little thing going over there. And then, well, it used to be like that for blacks. Blacks performing for blacks. And now blacks are very much, in fact, on top of the comedy scene, in the clubs and on TV and in the series and in the movies. They are at the forefront, I think, in some ways. And it didn't used to be that way. And I think that gays, in some ways, we are where blacks once were in terms of not being accepted yet. We're not quite sure we want to let you in. And I really think we should be let in. And I don't think that it will end the gay and lesbian comedy scene for gay and lesbian audiences. I think that's where we get our support so that we can go and take these risks.
These are from the Bay Times here in San Francisco. And first of all, I want to talk about this trend that is occurring. There's a thing occurring in the women's community sexually, I guess, this whole thing that, like, there's all these ads about, about asses. Butt-fucking. I just want to read you a little bit of a couple of them, okay? Just so you can see what I'm talking about. You're in high heels and stockings, bent over and handcuffed to a table while one of us fucks with your ass and the other one fucks with your head. Girls, I have a serious ass fetish that I'm just dying to get satisfied. If you'd like to have a dark, voluptuous, nasty-minded white girl slut pay attention to your ass for hours at a time, then read on. I would never answer these ads, but they make for good porno reading, don't you think? I'd like to do any or all of the following to you: look at and admire your ass, make you show it off to me in various positions and stages of dress and undress, make you bend over my knee, bend over my furniture, or get down on all fours with your ass stuck high in the air, fondle and squeeze and hump your butt like a dog while you wriggle and squirm and plead for more. Spank, paddle, whip, and flog until your cheeks are bright red and burning, and of course, fuck you up the ass long and hard and nasty until you melt. Now, listen to the next part. She goes, I don't care about your race, your age, your size, your den, and the... I don't even care if you have a head. I don't really even care if you have any arms or legs. I just want your butt. Just give me your butt. Just the body parts, okay? Just give me those butts to fuck. I just want those asses all lined up so I can fuck the butts. Let me just fuck the butts. I don't care about you. Just your butt. Seems like women are becoming like the guys in the 70s. Somebody used to have glory holes for women. Putting your breasts in them, putting your fingers, I don't know. It's ill. That's what it is. It's ill. And you guys, it seems like guys have like two different kinds of ads. There's these kind of ads. I like movies, swimming, and cuddling. I'm into cuddling, intimacy, cuddling, companion seeking. I love to cuddle, 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 cuddle. The male lesbians. And, yeah, there's those kind of ads, and then there's these other kind of ads. Uncut, low hangers, bull balls, mushroom heads, unusual cocks, especially welcome, shaved crotch, and or balls, all of these a plus. Let's have lunch and beat off in the John! You guys, it's either like cuddling or like, you know, there's some middle ground here. And there's a woman I wouldn't want to meet. She goes, you are your own woman, except in my bed. Where you are my own little slut, eager to submit. I am big and strong, yet gentle and easygoing, except in my bed, where I am mean and forceful and cruel. And finally, I'm 5'2", 130 pounds, professional, non-butch, and non-Christian. Okay, like the opposite of that is a butch Christian, which I think is really funny. It's like, honey, let's pray. I said pray.
People don't know, they don't have images. I think they have images of gay men, of fags. I think that they think of all these funny things about gay men. Gay men are so funny, but lesbians, they're scary for people. I don't think there's any common images until just recently, in the last year or two in the media, there's finally been some representation of lesbians.
Okay, now let's talk about lesbian sex, you know, because lesbians are so invisible. This book is called The Joy of Lesbian Sex. How many of you lesbians remember this book? Or male lesbians remember it? Yes. Women over 30. Okay. On the next Oprah Winfrey show. Okay, fine. Lesbians who remember the feminist movement. Thank you. Okay, fine. Anyway, I bring this book into my act because it is written so poorly that I thought I would share some things with you. You male lesbians will enjoy it, and you fags will just have to play along, and you straight people might actually grow from the experience. But don't grow in front of me too much, okay? It says in the introduction, lesbianism in the popular imagination has been a phenomenon somewhat like China. That's what it says. Like China, there has been a great wall around the lesbian. Yeah, the great vaginal wall of China. Now, it hasn't at all in dictionary form, and it lists the category called big toe. Now, this is a perfect example of how desperate lesbians are to always be finding something new to put in there. You know, well, let's see, what can I put in there now? This, my hand, my mouth, my head, my feet, got the dildos on, and got, let's see, oh, my feet, oh, yeah. I thought that if I'm going to do this in my show, that I should try everything in it, but I couldn't get my other 4 toes to stay down, so... It says some women, however, prefer to masturbate with a hand. I love that. They don't say, like, your hand or her hand, but like, the hand. Yeah, I gotta hand it to you. Or a dildo while they are toe-fucking their partner, or simply wait for their turn. Am I still wet? In more restaurants than would care to be mentioned, toe-fucking is an unannounced item on the menu. I have not been to these restaurants. Can you imagine? Yeah, I'll have the number 47 toe-fucking. Oh, toe-fucking, very fresh. Toe-fucking is a means also of making love simultaneously to 2 women. Who will most likely be further stimulating each other as your feet perform. And what audiences really love is when you work off the moment, because they know it's only that moment, it's gone, and then you'll never do it that same way again. So instead of coming out with a pat routine, I try to have the material together, have it in my mind, and then go out and just, right before I go on stage, just go, whatever. And finally, you can use your nose as far as you can to reach into her bush. I have never thought of this. Pressing particularly hard at the base of the clitoris. I think it's important to make that sound when you do this. Do this with me. Nobody ever does it. You guys are fools, man. You're really fools. That's so cute. We've got long noses. Thank you for sharing. You've got a big mouth also. I suppose you've been eating lots of pussy with that big nose and mouth. I'm so glad to hear you got your face in the business, eh? You will find this next point particularly helpful. It'll be like the new lesbian bonding thing. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I know. Such pressure, she goes on to say, they go on to say, such pressure cannot be constant, of course, since you have to breathe. I'm Marilyn Pittman. Thank you so much.
This is the main exhibit space at the Eye Gallery, where in addition to the video works that they're screening as part of the film festival, they also have a display of gay and lesbian photography going on. In fact, there's queer culture springing out all over the place, and there's been an awful lot of attention directed at Michelangelo Signorelli's new book, Queer in America.
The book is really about the closet and what the closet does to people, and how the closet and power, that dangerous combination, can really affect the lives of millions of us. I wrote it because I really feel that there's not an understanding from gay people, by gay people, and by a lot of straight people about what the closet is, and how we're all forced into the closet as children with no choice, and we were expected to be there and stay there until we get older, and that if we have any right, it's to be out of the closet, not in it. So I wrote the book to really show the closet and how it really can affect all of our lives. Outing is important because it's time for the media to equalize the discussion of homosexuality and heterosexuality. I don't really even like the word outing. I like equalizing. It means really trying to get the media to look at gay people and to report on gay people in the way that they report on straight people. Whenever they would report on public figures' heterosexuality, they should be reporting on people's homosexuality. But I don't believe in just outing people who are necessarily hurting us or attacking us in a political sense. I believe we should be talking about people whenever it's pertinent to a news story, you know, whenever it's pertinent to any story, and as long as it's pertinent, and only when it's about a public figure. So if it were a Hollywood celebrity or a Washington politician, and you would normally be talking about their heterosexuality, I think at that point, if they're gay, you should be talking about that person's homosexuality.
Anyone who's gay or lesbian in America will be reading Queer in America, Michelangelo Signorelli's new book that traces the roots of the gay and lesbian civil rights movement from the early days of ACT UP until the present-day fight to end the ban on gays and lesbians in the military. Queer in America takes a no-punches-pulled look at what happens in America today in the closets of power of Washington and the closets of Hollywood. We're here tonight at a Different Light bookstore where Michelangelo Signorelli is signing copies of his book.
You must come out wisely. You must plan for the day when you are going to come out, and you must come out, but you must do it wisely. I'm not telling kids, you know, just come out of the closet in a situation that's dangerous for them, and I don't think they should. But I do think I try to address that up front and hope that the rest of the book will prepare them about the closet and what it's really about and how it destroys and how it is really something that they have to work toward coming out. I've been getting an enormous amount of mail from kids, from teenagers, who really get it. I'm really happy and feel rewarded because I wrote the book hoping, you know, in a kind of a language that would be easy to read, that for young people who are less educated, and they are getting it, and they're seeing that, and in fact, I used to get this even back at Out Week. I was amazed at how teenage kids were able to understand that I wasn't targeting them, I wasn't trying to drag them out of the closet. They really understood that the work that we were doing in terms of privileged people who are in power, public figures, was about breaking down the closet so that it would be easier for them.
We stopped to ask a few people what they thought of Michelangelo Signorelli's new book, and this is what they said.
Oh, I think he's a great speaker and he has some great ideas. I like this book a lot, but he makes a real good case for outing. The problem I had with the book, though, was that he talks to all these closet cases and he doesn't out them.
I think the entire book is fabulous.
I think he's a fascinating writer. But I think, you know, as someone said today, he has mellowed over time. There used to be a time when he used to write an angry young man's column. And today he's come out with a book, and he's become very mainstream. And I think that explains a lot of what has happened to gay and lesbian activists over here in the U.S. That explains what's happened to ACT UP and Queer Nation. They're folding up because gay and lesbian activists are becoming more mainstream.
9th, I think.
Yes, the 9th.
That's right, my birthday was the 5th.
Great.
And I am Josie, Josy. I liked the book a lot. I thought it was really wonderful, and it made some very good points about power and the damage that the closet does to people. So anything he signs is fine by me. I admire him a lot. So whatever happened to your little cousin that you used to play with that you talk about in the book?
Oh, she's great. She called me up. She was crying, reading the whole thing. She went into a suburban shopping mall to buy it, and there were like, you know, I don't know what she said. There were a whole bunch of people around, and, you know, she said she really understood what it felt like to be a queer that day, but she didn't care. And she went in, and she grabbed it, and she said to the woman, "This is my cousin's book."
Oh, that's
And she took it home, and she was crying. And she called me up crying. So I wish I would have known what you went through. They got pictures of the children. That person chose to have that interview done. I feel that person is homosexual. The same question should be asked to people who live here. To you, etc.
Meg, I thought you might be coming with me. No, I just had... Come with me. Oh, Meg, we could be so happy. Please.
All aboard.
Directors of Forbidden Love, which had its West Coast premiere here last night, and based on the sounds of applause, it sounded like it was very well received. Why don't you give me just some sense of what it was like for you last night?
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. It was incredible for us to be up there, look at 1,500 people in the Castro. It's such a beautiful theater and kind of Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco has been like the Mecca of gays and lesbians from everywhere, and so it's been so exciting to be here and to be opening night.
Welcome everybody, Butch, Femme, Vanilla, everybody. Lynn and I are excited and delighted to be here in San Francisco. We can't quite believe it, really. It's great.
We wanted to do an oral history film from the 50s and 60s, what it was like to be different, to be a gay woman at that time, to not be part of the Father Knows Best Donna Reed show, and also to bring Canadian lesbian history right out of the closet.
I think women writing in the 50s and 60s for the paperback houses in particular were often constrained by the kind of formula that the publisher imposed on them. There was some kind of retribution that was essential at the end so that you could let them have a little fun in the meantime and presumably entertain the reader. But it was not to go unpunished. So at the end of a story like that, one of the women or both had to die or be essentially shipped out of the country or undergo some calamity that would break her heart or break her spirit or end her life.
Well, I think one of the situations that you might have found yourself in as a Canadian lesbian in that time was to be sitting in a real grungy beer parlor down in the docks in Vancouver, sharing the bar with longshoremen and other assorted rounders and exiles, but reading in these pulp novels about the bohemian bars of Greenwich Village and that leap of imagination. It was different than what you were surrounded with, and I think people had to sort of get their minds around that sometimes.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we did the dramas, because it was like this imaginary. And, you know, as you know, one of the women actually set off to Greenwich Village because she thought that's where all the lesbians were, because that's where they all were in the pulp novels. So there's some wonderful humorous moments about what happens when you don't have a community, but you do have some source of information.
And at one point we thought, well, all the lesbians obviously live in New York, in Greenwich Village. At least the books said that's where they all lived. So we decided we had to go and find the lesbians. So I put on what I thought was my best butch clothing, because we thought they were all butch and femme. And I put on my red blazer and a tie and a shirt and dark pants, and my lover wore a dress, and off we went to Greenwich Village to look for the lesbians. And we asked taxi drivers and kind of poked around and went in here and there, and I don't know, we never found them. It was a real disappointment.
There were 9 women, I think, that were featured in the film, but I think you interviewed far more than that, didn't you?
40 women, and we could have kept on going. And they were all exceptional storytellers. They all had like amazing stories. It was very hard to decide who to ask in the film, and then some of them we did ask couldn't come into the film. They had jobs, they were still at risk, or their families. But there's an amazing wealth of history there.
I imagine one of the challenges is probably with that much material, you know, what are you going to leave out? I mean, it must have been...
There's some incredible stuff on the cutting room floor, and when you're doing this kind of work where our history has been so neglected, so silenced, and so erased, you feel a special pang for anything that's left out. Our favorite cut is the 5.5-hour pajama party version, which was really sort of everything that was usable.
We need to know all of our history, the difficult parts as well as the celebratory parts. So we tried to put that in the film. We didn't censor it as if we were going to be making it for a straight audience who was hostile. There should be a lot of images, and that gay and lesbian artists should be able to choose among our interests. And develop it and make good film and not have to do survey films or not have to do things that straight artists simply don't have to do.
Ugly queer.
This one big cop, his wife had run off with another woman, and he was mad. And he was mad at all of us. He didn't care who we were. And he would harass us, and he would follow us into the street. He would come up to us on the street and say, I want your name and address, and I'm keeping it in my book. And he had it in his book. He had a book with everybody's name and address. And he said, I don't care if you're jaywalking or what you're doing. I'm going to nail you if I ever catch you. And he went after Clara one night. And she was mad. I mean, this woman weighed 275 pounds, was about 5'7". And it took 7 cops to put her in the bandwagon. He had to bring 6 of his friends because she was scrapping.
What's the plan for distribution of the film? I know it's starting to make the rounds of the festivals now. Where does it go from here?
Well, Women Make Movies is distributing it, and I think they want to do a limited theatrical run. It opens here at the Castro for a week in September, opens in New York at the Film Forum, I think in LA, and they're just making plans and talking to theaters about booking it. So hope you all keep an eye out. It's also going to be on national television in Canada. Oh. And that's like a home audience that will be really, really fabulous to have.
And in Great Britain as well. It's going to be broadcast on Channel 4 in Great Britain. So, and we're hoping in Australia as well. So it's really starting to find these mainstream niches in the English-speaking world, which is wonderful.
There still are a lot of people afraid to come to the theater. When you sort of sit in the heart of at the Castro, right, and you think, oh my God, we won. But in fact, it's not true. Go to any small town, and even areas of large towns where people are still very afraid to be caught. So having it on television is very subversive. And I'm sure we'll try and do a pitch somewhere on US TV.
At that point, we sort of knew. We talked about it. Neither one of us knew what to do. We were so stupid, it's hard to believe. We spent 2 or 3 days at this particular lake in British Columbia, necking like absolute mad, but still didn't know what to do. This seems so silly. Finally, she was going back on the train to Jasper, and I said, well, this is just unfinished business. I'm going with you to Jasper. So I left my little boy in charge of someone else, and I went with her. Just drove on the train to Jasper and back. And on the train, that's when things happened. She started out by making love to me, and I couldn't understand it. All of these crushes I'd had in women, all of a sudden there's a light. This is what's wrong with me. There's nothing the matter with me. I just like women more than men. That was great. I was delighted.
I certainly hope younger people in our community, both young men and women, get a sense of the courage of these people and maintain the great tradition of in your face, live your life, carry on, even under very repressive conditions. And so when we struggle with the things that we must struggle with today, there's a sense of support of those past victories, however small, to sustain all of us. Anybody who loves a good story, straight or gay, is going to enjoy the film. And how can you not love lesbians after you've met the women in the film? It's impossible. They're irresistible.
It's true. We are.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, Lynn Fernie and Erin Weissman. Forbidden Love. Watch for it.
To fall in love.
At first, we didn't know what to think.
He said he was gay.
We thought we had done something.
I was so angry, so hurt.
We didn't know where to turn. Talking to other families at Parents' Flag was a lifesaver.
Now we're closer than ever.
She's the same daughter she always was.
We love him just as much as always.
Parents' Flag helped us through it.
You are not alone. Talk to us. We understand. For the Parents Helpline nearest you, call 1-800-4FAMILY.
Lesbian, gay, film, festival, comedy, World Travel Expo, Q, Gus Van Sant, Calvin Klein, Tony Award, Take the Stage, Sexual, Queer in America, Network Television, for Gay America.
Be welcome to the stage of the Castro Theatre, Gus Van Sant.
Thank you. I wasn't aware that they were going to show it on opening night, but I read the program a couple months ago when it came out, and it said that I would be here on opening night, so I felt obliged to be here because it was in print, so here I am. This film, Malanoche, was shown 8 years ago at this festival, and I think it was the largest audience I've ever seen it with, and again, this is another experience to watch Malanoche with such a huge crowd. I think this has got to be the biggest crowd it ever draws, 8 years later. When I first read the book of Malanoche, at the time I was writing screenplays that were more about upper middle class neighborhood life, and it was something that was sort of off my own beaten track, and because of that I could see relationships a little more clearly than in my own neighborhood, and I think that that was something that drew me to the subject, which was the most fun to make because we had a lot of freedom. We only had a small crew, and because of that I think shooting it was probably more fun. It was scarier though than the other films, and I didn't really know what we were doing, you know, which it can make things a lot better when you don't know.
Been happening to you over the last few years. I mean, with this latest project, it seems, at least you read through the cast list and the people who are working on the soundtrack and everything, it sounds like Gus Van Sant is working on a major mainstream Hollywood picture. Is that how it's going to look when it comes out, or?
Well, it's a Tom Robbins book, Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, and I wouldn't call it a mainstream Hollywood picture. I would call it a mainstream film, but not necessarily Hollywood. A certain kind of Hollywood film, yeah. A good kind.
So I'll be going to Sundance for Gay Pride Week, so that's a mixed, blessing, because I will miss it. I'll miss the parade. The queer parade. I like queer, actually. I like that. I like that title. You know, because it's all right with me. First of all, because it's so simple now. You know, it includes all of us. It includes gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexuals. It's queer, and so I'm okay. You know, I think that's good. It's efficient, and just, you know, let's just stick with this one, okay? Can we just stick? Can we stop now? You know, because I keep having to change my stationery.
I'm Sybil Shepherd. In the next few minutes, you'll meet the soldiers, sailors, and flyers, brave women and men who have served in the armed forces of the United States. They've all sworn to support and defend the Constitution. They've all fulfilled that mission honorably. But because they were open and honest and had the courage to admit they were lesbian or gay, they've been labeled unfit for military service.
My name is Justin Elsie. I'm from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and grew up on a farm. I was a hog farmer and worked in the hayfields, was in the Boy Scouts.
I was born in Crete, Nebraska. I'm from Nebraska originally and moved to Minnesota much later in my life. I was raised in lots of small towns around Nebraska. My father was a Methodist minister, and my mother was an educated minister's wife, basically, but they weren't allowed to work.
I went to school both in Mexico and here in the U.S. I graduated from the University of Southern California. I went to high school in in San Gabriel.
My father served 22 years on active duty. He was a Vietnam veteran. The sense of duty that he had led me to believe that doing something in the military would help me further my education and also help the country at the same time. So I ended up shooting for the highest goal possible and went for appointment at the United States Military Academy.
Yes, I'm an open gay Marine. If you classify it as open, my sexual orientation is known, but that's it. I don't act upon that anywhere in my workplace. I conduct myself professionally.
I want to serve my country. I'm willing to die for my country, but I want to do it with dignity. I want to do it being true to myself and true to my colleagues and true to my partner, because my love for her is not wrong. My love for this country is not wrong, and I believe the two can work together.
My men accepted me for the quality of my character and the quality of my service and the quality of my performance on a daily basis, when you're drilling them, when you're with them, when you're on maneuvers with them, and not for my sexual orientation. They knew I was an openly gay man. They never knew much more about that than what they needed to know. They knew that I was an openly gay man during my private hours, but that I was a professional and conducted myself as such, as my record shows, for the rest of the time.
The professionals, the doctors, the lawyers, the construction workers, and just because I was gay did not mean I would have to change the way I acted or change the way I performed.
I never knew a gay person or what gay life was about. It was not something that was in my family. Gay life was about. It was not something that was in my family that you're taught about. And I always had this vision of your typical normal gay person as being this freak, a misfit of society, and something that I knew I wasn't. So I figured, well, I can't be gay because I'm not one of them people. You know, I'm not a freak, I'm not a misfit. And so I kept pushing it down inside me and not letting what I really was come out. And so when I started really actually seeing that they're just normal people and going out to clubs and meeting people, I felt more comfortable with myself.
I had been notified that I was promoted to major effective a certain date, which happened to be a Sunday. I was actually going to have a big party, and for whatever reason, I didn't do that. But I had given an interview to the Los Angeles Times about 3 days before that promotion became effective. And they notified me suddenly that my promotion was rescinded and that I was now being investigated for moral dereliction.
So I decided that
I would come out. But I knew that if I came out just to those around me or to my commander, that my career would be destroyed. Something I worked very hard for, something I loved then and I still love very, very much.
The military is designed to follow orders. They have discipline. At the top levels of the military says the current policy is that everybody, including gay, lesbian soldiers, are to be treated as equals and not to be referred to in a derogatory manner. Their orders are to be followed just as if they were given by any other effective, competent leader. Then that's what will happen.
They will take orders from a gay or lesbian soldier. They will take orders from a woman. They'll take orders from a black. Anybody who's there, they'll take orders from. They may not like it, but that's part of what they know their job is in the military.
I think my men serve as a blueprint as to how successful the situation can work, because when I came out to them, I never had any repercussions. I never had somebody say, I won't serve under a faggot sergeant. I won't serve under you because you're gay. I never had that issue.
Actually, I joined the Navy in April of 1980. At that time, Americans were being held hostage in Iran against their will. That infuriated me to the point where I had to do something about it. And the Navy came along. I don't expect everybody in the military to be my friend. I don't expect everybody in the military to accept my sexual orientation. God knows it took me 27 years to come to terms with my sexual orientation. But what I do expect them to do is do their job as professionally as possible. And that's all we ask anybody in the military, is to do their job.
I knew that Keith Meinhold was gay while I was working for him, and to me there was no impact on my relationship with him in work. I respected him for the job that he could do, and that was what was important to me.
It is much more attractive to me to see a man who is open and accepting of all people than someone who is bigoted and closed-minded.
After I left the Navy, I was working for Safeway, and one day I was leaving work. It was about the time Keith was readmitted to the Navy, and one of the checkers turned to me and said, hey, do you hear they're letting fags back in the Navy? And it just angered me so much, I turned around and said, hey, that fag was the best man at my wedding. He just seemed like the perfect person to have as my best man.
I'm married and I've got 4 sons. I'm a veteran of Vietnam. I served 1963 to 66, the last year of which I served with the 1st Air Cavalry in Vietnam. I am currently a sergeant in the Minnesota Army National Guard. My commander is Captain Pam Mint. Eventually I figured out that, that my boss is a lesbian. And of course, being a biased person, I had to sort through some things. And I decided that it was not that big a deal because there were too many other positive things that I found in our relationship that I could overlook that. It wasn't an issue for me.
When we're in a situation where we're functioning in a crisis, the last thing on his mind is that I'm a lesbian. And the last thing on my mind is that he's heterosexual. What's on our mind is we have a job, we have a mission, and let's do it to the best of our ability.
When I started applying to Annapolis, I started talking to more and more people about it and became more and more excited. I got the catalog, and after I was accepted, there was a few months between my acceptance and when I actually entered, I looked at that catalog every day. I dreamed about what it would be like. My family was incredibly proud of me. I'm the youngest of 7 children. I think if they really took into account the lesbians that are in the service right now, how successful they are, I think that a lot of the arguments would just fall apart. I know personally from my ship, of the lesbians that I knew on board it, if you took all of us off, that ship would not have been able to get underway. My last active duty position, I was the supply officer at Naval Security Station in Washington, D.C., and as such I provided logistic and contracting support for Headquarters Naval Security Group Command and Naval Computer and Telecommunications Command. And as such, I was responsible for all the logistical support for Operation Desert Storm for the Navy's cryptology efforts.
Lesbians make exceptional soldiers because they're hardworking, they're diligent. Often they don't have the cares of a family, and they basically have been acknowledged to be hardworking and diligent by admirals in the Navy who wrote memos and so forth.
fact, we had a bizarre situation where we had the commander of the Atlantic Fleet, a Navy admiral, saying, you know, you got to get after these people because most times they're good performers, and if you don't make an extra special effort, you're not going to get them out because they're performing so well. So, I mean, we've almost turned the thing upside down. Whereas we thought that gays and lesbians would cause problems, now they're doing so well, but in spite of that, we still have to be vigilant to get them out. And that's just a complete reversal of the policies that I thought we were enunciating a decade ago.
I met Lloyd Darling when I was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division down in the Delta in Vietnam. I found out that he was gay. Well, he told me he was gay about the 5th day that I was there. Lloyd was respected because, for one, he was a loyal person, and because of the closeness of our unit, we worked well together. We were very compatible, and we protected each other. It's 2 in the morning. It's dark, totally dark. I realized what I was seeing. It was totally unbelievable. It was like a mass of people. It was like no space in between them. It was, I have never, ever seen that in my life. And I said to myself, holy God. I was looking at Lloyd, he looked at me. At that point, I got hit again and knocked to the ground. I remember saying, come on, are you coming? Are you coming? And he just looked at me, like, I'm not seeing you again. I'm not going to see you again. He decided to stay and keep on firing until he couldn't fire anymore or got killed. What he did was that he gave us, I would guess 5 minutes maybe. That was the amount of time it took us to crawl back to that rice paddy and play dead. Lloyd saved our lives. He died for us, is what Lloyd did. He's responsible for us living now and returning home.
I have an intense attachment to that wall in Washington, D.C. Now, who is going to start chiseling off 10% of those names?
We get a lot of cards and letters every month requesting that various segments of our community be profiled on Network Q. One of the most frequently mentioned is the leather community. So since the SF Eagle, one of the largest leather bars in town, is just a short hop from the Castro Theater, we figured this would be the time to do it. We spoke with Mr. International Leather 1992, Lenny Broberg.
The first experience I had in a leather bar, I always wanted to go. And I walked in, took a look around, I said, out of here, and I left. It took me a couple months, and then I went back with a friend, and that made it a little easier. And then I discovered that they're really no different than anybody else. We all know what you do in a bar. You come into a bar, you have a drink, and you meet people, okay? And it gives you an opportunity to sort of blend into the background. You can come into the bar, and you can just sort of watch and observe. You go through a couple coming out. First I had to come out as gay, then I had to come out into leather, so I actually sort of came out twice. Within the leather community and in the leather world, we get to play a lot more, all right? We get to live out a lot of our fantasies. What's so funny is you'll take a leather man, he'll walk into a sweater bar and everyone will go, oh my God. But at least half of them are going, I wonder what it would be like to go home with him.
This is probably the biggest leather store in the world. We're at 1779 Folsom Street in San Francisco. Traditional leather jacket, lots of jackets, all different styles. Standard leather pants, leather 501s. They're based on the 501 blue jean style. We also carry some unusual leather clothing in stock. This is an example of a leather police shirt. So these are about $325 with the long sleeves, but it's based on the same patterns as a police uniform shirt. We have cat suits. These range about $400 to $500 depending on what kind of options you want with this. So this is a full body suit. It goes from neck down to the ankles, down to the wrists. And this one's accessible through a zipper. Basic chain harness, and it's just a Y type thing. And to the full body harness is the deluxe one. These are $185. These are the jocks. We have a couple different styles. And these are the pouch jocks, all the pouches up there. Ones like this do have their advantages. You've got it on, and if you're, depends on where you're playing and such, you're playing at a play space or something. But having the cod piece, you can just rip it off, and you have instant access to the cock and balls.
You're going to find all kinds of people in a leather bar. You're going to find people that just like to wear leather. You're going to find people that are into SM, that aren't into leather, and this is one of the few outlets where they get to meet people in a social situation that are into some of the same things that they are. You find people that are into motorcycles. That's why they come to a leather bar. The motorcycle leather is actually a working part of who they are, because when you're riding a bike, you're not going to ride it in lace or, chiffon. You're going to ride it in leather. You need some protection on the road. Pansexuality is becoming a real big thing in the leather community. There are men and women that play together, and what you need to understand is that when they play together, they don't have sex, all right? There's not the insertion, there's not the orgasm. The leather men and women work very well together because the women have already come out. They suffer discrimination at the hands of their lesbian sisters because the politically correct lesbian, shall we say, considers leather sex and SM a form of violence, all right? Well, you have to define violence, and my reply to that is always, violence is where there is one party that is unwilling, okay, and you're causing unwanted pain.
Yeah. Basic color here, and your wrist manacles and ankle manacles, and these all lock on. So this is if you're into bondage, it's not really tight bondage, but you're in chains and such. This is a lot of fun here. It's called the standard combination. So you've got the collar here, these are the wrists, the ankles. By chain, then you get into some more intense ones, which actually these were used in prisons and such, and these are pretty intense. So this would be going to your ankles and your wrist. It depends on the games you're playing. Something like this, you'd be somewhat restrained, but you still have enough motion that you can clean the house or whatever. Things like this, you're not going anywhere. Here's some examples of some of our whips and paddles. This is probably one of the better, good flogger here. This is, it's not a cat of nine, this is called a flogger. It's got 24 tails to it. And what's good about this one is you can go a whole scene with this one. You can go pretty lightly, or you can really start going in on somebody. Here's just some other ones. These are the plastic ones. So this is one that go like that. But the one I like is a small version here, because you can get into real tight places. You can do it on the nipples or other areas. Real nasty one is this scourge here. That's this one that's got the tails, but it's got the little knots at the end of the tail. So this one does hurt. This would hurt after a while.
A lot of people have the concept that SM is, just beat each other up, knock each other around and make each other bloody. Well, that's not it. You have tops, you have bottoms, you have the master, the slave aspect of it, where it's the bottom or the slave comes in and says, here, I'm going to give you this power over me, and the master of the top says, all right, I'm going to accept that power. Don't get daddy and boy and master slave and top and bottom confused, okay? Those are very different roles. A master and a slave, that's something that you really have to want to get into, okay? And there's degrees, because if you're a slave, you just give it all up. Someone may come to a play party and all they want to do is be restrained for 2 hours with a hood, all right? You may have some people that want to come in and be tied up to a wall and just have their back flogged. There may be some people that just want to come in and be told to sit, crouch down, head down, and that's all they're going to do for 2 hours. We need to know who it is that we're playing with and any limitations that they might have. And the bottom or the boy, they set the limits. All right, they're the ones that set the boundaries. They say, all right, I'm into this, I can do this, I can do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And the top has to respect that. There's that very fine line of pain and pleasure, all right? I mean, come on, last time, you know, you like dumped your rocks, didn't it like hurt so good? All right, that's the whole thing.
These are examples of our hoods. So this is one that's got the eye covers and mouth cover, the grill mouth. And so these ones lace up the back. So these are more like, these are the helmet style ones that they fit on the head, and they're they're pretty tight, but they're not really tight. We have the other ones called tight hoods, which is one like this. Okay, and this is a deluxe tight hood because this one is leather on the outside and it's lined with leather inside, so you have 2 layers of leather in it. Okay, one of the games we play with the gas mask. It's called do breath control. And so the person's wearing the gas mask, and it turns out this is the only way you get the air intake. So you can always pop your hand over there for a little bit and control the breathing. And so that can be, they'll start to struggle after a while. One of the Fedder's straitjackets, better to see it from the back, how you get into it. You slip it on and button the collar, do the straps there, the arms through it, and then you take the arms and strap them around back here. So you got one sleeve there, straps to another one there. This is one of the Fedder's all-leather sleep sacks. These are about $1,200. And what this has, it's a bondage device, and can't see it in here. It has internal sleeves, so the person getting into it would have his arms in the sleeves, and then go in there, and zips up the front. Actually, it zips up most of the front, but you have a couple zips there that go back and forth, so you can have access to the cock and balls. And there's a zipper in the back, so you want to get to back access. This particular model has what's called tit flaps. So the little windows here, so you can have access to the tits, the person person inside. So this strap's put in there, so you can hang the person upside down. Here, we're mainly a gay store, so majority of our customers are gay men. We have a number of other lesbians who come in, and we also have a number of hetero people who come in. Different things, different people.
Because a lot of our relationships are based on trust and that give and take of power, our relationships may be a little more intense than the gay and lesbian community as a whole, all right? Because again, we're playing a little farther with the human psyche than just the initial, oh my God, it's a pretty body, you know, I like that pair of pants on that guy, let me go home and sleep with him. Or, gee, I really like that, you know, lipstick lesbian, I like the way she dances on the dance floor, let me see if I can pick her up and we'll, you know, go for a cup of coffee afterward. In a leather bar, what you've done is you've negotiated, you've worked with that give and take of power, so you've already reached a little farther and the relationship is going to be a little more intense. Since the advent of AIDS, a lot of the leather bars have taken on another role, and that's the location of fundraising. The SF Eagle has been the site of fundraisers over the last few years, and it's raised over $5 million for the community. So, you know, $5 million is a lot of money, and if you stop and think that a lot of the leather bars have done that, and that they have, you know, keep giving back to their community, the leather bars, you know, provide an opportunity to help raise much needed funds. When you look at all the different groups within the city, sports organizations, charities, you will find leather people that are there working and giving of their time and giving of their money. So I want people to understand that when you come into a leather bar, you're entering another world. You're also entering a wonderful group of people. You know, we place a lot of value on honor and integrity, and we're very proud of who we are, and we're here to work with the rest of the community. We're just as giving to the rest of the community as we are to our own people.
For Network Q. Are you looking for a little glitz, a little glamour, a few stars? Well, they're all here tonight at the 7th Annual AIDS Project Los Angeles Fashion Gala honoring Calvin Klein.
Calvin and Kelly.
One more camera.
Calvin, Kelly.
Julie!
Julie, to your left.
Right here.
Warren. Warren.
Kelly.
Thanks a lot.
Why are you here tonight?
I think that, we've all lost a lot of friends here, and especially in the fashion industry and in the entertainment industry.
And I've lost very many artist friends, and it's a tremendous loss. So it's all about humanity. It's all about loving and helping the people on a global level. So that's why I'm here supporting.
Kelly, what do you want to say to people with AIDS in America? Kelly, straight ahead.
We love you. We're working hard. This is going to be over. All of my best friends are gone, and I haven't stopped fighting.
Well, I'd want to say to the president that we're waiting, Mr. President. We've been very patient community. The AIDS czar, we're very frustrated. We know that everybody it's been offered to has turned it down. We fear that the job is not well enough defined to get the kind of individual that's needed. And it's 6 months into this administration, Mr. President, we need this AIDS czar. What is going on with the Haitians in Guantanamo Bay is an embarrassment. It is an outrage, and we are very distraught, Mr. President. But I would equally talk to the Congress. The refusal to lift the ban on HIV immigration is, again, an outrage, and our Congress people showed no guts, and we need to hold those people accountable.
I'm afraid of utter just ignorance in the extreme and denial of that we are sexual beings. And the fact that we are still homophobic in 1993. So that is tragic and pathetic, actually. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Thank
Derek.
What do you have to say to all of the gay men who wear your briefs?
Thank you. Show? Yeah? Great. Because this we could do actually.
Really want to thank, more than anything, I mean, all of you
I mean, it's, I don't know, you're about 350 of the most incredible people.
Calvin is the man. I've said it many times. I said it in the commercial. I'll say it again after rehearsal. Calvin is the man.
We were just now leaving the Hollywood Bowl. It was an incredible evening. Tina Turner was great, as were all those boys and girls in underwear, and Calvin Klein. But people did not forget AIDS. This is Karen Oakins from the Hollywood Bowl for Network Q.
I finally found a bank I can really enjoy. It's S&M banking at Naughty American Savings and Loan. It's great. They give you like a free whipping with every deposit. And they have dominatrix tellers and crawl-up banking, my favorite. I went in to see my customer sadist representative the other day, and she said, "Shut up, sit down, give me that!" It felt great. And then I went over to see my moan officer, and she said, "Shut up, sit down, give me that." They kept me tied up there all day. I applied for a loan. I was turned down. I felt humiliated. I just loved it.
Get out of here and get me some money.
You got some questions? Oh, good.
Fun
We don't
stuff.
have to make it up.
Oh, no.
Oh, excellent.
No, that'll be actual thoughts that will ask you.
On your part.
Yeah.
A lot of women are into SM and they're not into leather, all right? Especially the vegetarians. Yeah, we laugh, but it happens, all right? There are vegetarian S&M people that will not play with anything that is made of leather because it comes from an animal.
We're from San Francisco, and we're here for the Gay Pride Fest up in Kernville. And staying with some friends, are going to have a big pool party. Right? Right.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Y'all many times and seeing me and all that good shit.
I've something in my pocket, it belongs across my face. I keep it very close at hand and most convenient.